Welcome back to Unfoolish Investing, everybody. Guess who's back? Guess who's back? It's Larry. I told you he'd be back.
I decided to come back. Not sure if it was the right decision, but we're here.
We are. And today, we're going to start off diving into Warren Buffett's latest moves with Berkshire Hathaway, folks. That's right. I'm not sure if you heard, but they just disclosed in a recent SEC filing that Berkshire has made some eye-catching investments in two companies that you might not immediately associate with a typical Buffett playbook. Domino's Pizza and Pool Corp. Berkshire snapped up 1.28 million shares of Domino's, totaling around $549 million, which sounds like a lot of money, but I feel like they left a little on the table, Larry.
Yeah, I mean, when you have $320 billion in cash, 540 something million's a drop in the bucket. So,
are you familiar with how Domino's started?
You know, I owned Domino's years ago and I sold it. Probably shouldn't have, but why don't you talk us through the origins?
So, this dude Dominic opened up a pizzeria near the University of Michigan, right? And it was popular, but from my understanding, what really changed was one day, these group of students were just so busy studying and they couldn't go down to Dominic's to get pizza. So they called them up and they asked if they would deliver the pizza.
Yeah.
Which is kind of crazy, but again, I think we're talking the mid to late 1960s. So delivery wasn't a thing. So he cooks up the pizza, delivers it late night to the kids, and then it comes to him and he's like, maybe there's something to be had here around delivering pizza to people. And it kind of took off from there.
Turned out great for him.
I think he did a pretty phenomenal job, and you know, I think if you look at Domino's, they are absolutely killing it. On news of Warren and Berkshire buying it, stock is up almost 8% to $469. $469 a share. If it was 2010, I'm pretty sure you could have bought that stock for $7, Larry.
You know, it's an unbelievable rise. To your point, 2010, it was like $7 or $8.
And
wow,
insanity, right?
Yeah, it's crazy for it to move that much. I say that fast. It's been almost 15 years, but you don't think of pizza as a huge blow-up stock like that.
Now, I'm not sure why Berkshire bought them in outside of it's a very known brand and it's different from what they're typically doing. But the one thing that Domino's has been doing over the years that really I vibe on is they use what's called the fortressing strategy. Are you familiar with that?
Let's talk about it.
It involves increasing the number of stores within a specific market area to the point of complete saturation, where you have as many Domino's pizzas around as you possibly do coffee shops like Dutch Brothers, where they're pretty much everywhere. So when somebody needs a pizza, they're always going to be the closest one around.
Gotcha.
So they just fortress the entire region.
It's like a Dunkin' Donuts on every corner.
But a Dutch Brothers, you know.
Well, we live in the Northeast, so
we do. Sadly, we do not get as much Dutch Brothers
or any. I wish it was Dutch Brothers.
You know, but if you're in Colorado or the Midwest, Dutch Brothers. And they also went into Pool Corp. And Pool Corp is a major distributor in the swimming pool industry, focusing on non-discretionary maintenance services, which are crucial even in tough economic times. But I do not feel like I'm in a tough economic time. But, you know, the company reported that demand for essential maintenance services for existing pools continues to hold steady, which I'm not really surprised because I feel like just a few years ago in the height of the pandemic, what was everybody buying, Larry?
Yeah, everybody was getting stuff that they could just stay home. So if you wanted to swim, you got a pool.
Yeah, 100%. And, it's interesting when they talk about Berkshire buying Domino's Ampoule Inc. because they had to kind of shift. And what they kind of walked away from was,
Well, from what I read, they sold Apple, they sold Bank of America.
and they've been slowly getting out of Bank of America over the last month and a half. And it just seems like they're opting for taking profit from these stocks that they rode to new heights. And I think from what I was reading, Berkshire sold 36, 37 billion dollars in stocks last quarter and has sold over 130 billion year to date, which begs the question, with Domino's at a $15 billion valuation, why don't they just pay cash? They
Maybe
own
he's
Dairy
putting
Queen.
putting his toes in the water just to see how the stock reacts, and maybe down the road. You could say that though about almost any company that Warren Buffett and Berkshire invest in. Why don't they just buy them? Because they have so much cash on hand, they could afford to buy, almost any company outside of the huge mega caps.
But I feel like this kind of makes me think of when he bought Dairy Queen in Orange Julius, to ensure that people would always have the ability to buy ice cream, and, they turned them into burgers and grills, and Dairy Queens are all over the place. I can speak to that because I live next to or close by one of the 10 busiest Dairy Queens in the country, and about a half an hour away from the busiest Dairy Queen in the entire country. Like, welcome to New Hampshire. We love our Dairy Queen, I guess.
I do love a Blizzard.
Blizzards are pretty good, pretty tasty.
Mm-hmm.
I usually go for the Orange Julius. It just reminds me of childhood.
There you go.
But, yeah, all I'll finish with is right now Berkshire's cash reserves are currently sitting around $330 billion, which is insanity, Larry. 100% higher than a year ago.
Yeah, he's got more treasury bills than the government.
What do you think he's waiting for? He's 94. Is there something he sees that we don't see in the economy and the market where he's like, I'm going to be patient?
There was a time where he was talking about capital gains tax potentially going up. I think now, post-election, that's probably not going to happen, at least in the foreseeable future. So I don't think it's that anymore. I think, some people have compared the way the markets run up to the dot-com bubble. So maybe he's thinking that we're in some sort of a bubble here with some of these huge tech stocks, like he's been selling Apple. He could just be taking profits. He's made so much money. Maybe he's just guaranteeing some of that gain.
We shall see. All I can say is he's got enough cash that he can pretty much do whatever he wants, whenever he wants. It'll be fascinating to see what they end up buying from that. On that,
Yep.
Before we pivot into our main topic, did you see Palantir?
I didn't see Palantir today. No, what happened?
They are pivoting away from the New York Stock Exchange, and they're headed for the NASDAQ.
Oh, interesting.
Stock symbol is going to stay the same, but from what I was reading, it's my understanding that they believe they meet all the requirements to finally hit the NASDAQ 100, and that's where they want to be.
So that means they'll be in QQQ.
Yes.
Eventually.
Or QQQM, But yes, so that means they'll be pivoting away from our previous comments of being in VOO and going over there to sit. Right now, Palantir stock's been run up a bit. I kind of have that nervousness of the .com, so I still am watching my 100-day trend to see whether or not it comes back, but yeah, it's up there. They're killing it. And on that note, off to today's subject. We're talking about business. We're talking about entertainment. You know what that means? We're talking about...
Gotta be Disney.
It is Disney! Disney! Oh my goodness. their fourth quarter earnings reports. I mean, the company has been transitioning, and I feel like they're balancing even better than they were before traditional media with digital. Let's jump into the revenue. The company Disney reported $22.5 billion in revenue, 6% increase from the previous year. This figure missed Wall Street's estimates of $22.59 billion. I mean, come on, Wall Street. That's like 5.7, 5.9. Are we really nitpicking? But net income rose to $460 million, or 25 cents per share, up from $264 million. And I'm not just going to say that's up. That's a blowout. Like,
That's a blowout, yep.
$460 million, and they were up from $264. That's a complete blowout. Adjusted earnings, excluding certain items, earnings were $1.14 per share, surpassing analysts' expectations of $1.09. Larry, what happened to the stock today?
Took off like a rocket ship.
Where did it end?
No, at the open, it was up like 10%, something like that. It ended up, I believe, 6.25. Yep, 6.25%. Great day for Disney. I don't know. Iger did announce he's selling a bunch of shares, but it does sound like that was a scheduled sale of stock that he's owned for 10 plus years.
Okay.
But I think I'm excited. I'm intrigued. I'm a longtime Disney owner, as I think you are. I don't have any plans to sell the stock immediately. I feel like I've been holding it for so long and it's finally starting to go up. So I'm hoping there's some more gains to be had here.
Yeah, I mean, the entertainment division, which is the movie studio and parts of television, they demonstrated significant growth just by themselves. Their operating income, I believe, surged almost a little over 1.7 billion or 1.06 billion, somewhere in those ranges, which more than quadrupled the previous year. And the growth was fueled by successful film releases of Inside Out 2 and Deadpool and Wolverine. I don't know if I'm the only one. I know there are a lot of people out there. You can never make enough Deadpool movies. You just can't. It's like adult candy. It's just like, you're not going to take the kids to it. It's completely obnoxious, over the top. I love Deadpool movies. And that contributed to $316 million in operating income. I didn't think, just when they thought movies were dead, I feel like Disney proved us otherwise.
Yeah, they started pulling people back in, yep.
Their focus on streaming, and this is the lever that I feel like not enough people see, right? I'm a Disney Plus subscriber. I have 3 kids. They all love the content. We're just going to raise the service a couple bucks. Like, that's instant revenue. Instant revenue growth. And for the first time, Disney streaming services, including Disney Plus, Hulu, and ESPN Plus, which I can never understand. I've never met anybody that watches ESPN Plus. Do you watch ESPN Plus? What is on ESPN? If you're watching this podcast and you watch ESPN Plus, comment below. I want to know what's on ESPN Plus, what the point of it is.
What's on there and why are you watching it? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, is this like the Professional Rodeo Tour or like, Professional Bowlers Association? Like,
the only thing I've seen on there that I thought would be interesting is some of the Manning brothers content they put behind ESPN Plus and NFL Primetime. I grew up watching NFL Primetime every Sunday, Chris Berman. So those are like the only 2 things that I know are on there that I find interesting. Not worth paying for at all, in my opinion.
Is ESPN Plus one of those things that they give you for free, or they bundle, but everybody that is buying the bundle is really just going for Disney Plus and Hulu, and they're like, oh, I also get ESPN Plus.
I think so. I think it's just kind of a throw-in. Yeah.
Yeah, and that entire streaming segment pulled in $253 million compared to a loss of $420 million the previous year. That's a $600 million flip in 12 months. Revenue in the segment rose 15% to $5.78 billion, driven by nothing else, subscription numbers, and higher pricing. Where do we go from here, Larry?
I mean, I think the prices are going to keep going up. I think they're probably, as their subscription numbers grow, if they keep growing, I shouldn't say it like it's an automatic, they might be able to command some better pricing from their ad partners. So they'd get more money from the ad companies. They then get more money from the higher subscription prices. I don't think we have found the ceiling yet of what people are willing to pay for streaming.
Really?
My concern is that we're going to end up. Look at Netflix. They just keep raising prices, and people are just like, okay.
I think Netflix is a different story because I feel like, me personally, I think they got more garbage on there than anything else, but it's kind of become the default.
Yep.
I
would agree with that.
Like, if I don't have any,
that's the first streaming service that you get, I think. Yeah.
And I'm gonna use a weird analogy from the 90s. Right? Nobody liked country music, but everybody had a Garth Brooks CD, right? Yeah. It was like that one thing you had. I don't have any streaming service but Netflix. And that's their whole thing. And my only concern with Netflix, before we pivot back to Disney's final division we need to talk about, is how many subscribers are dropping higher price plans to go to the ad-supported tier. And at what point is that become a negative? And is it not a negative because this is what Netflix is driving to do? And then hit the comments below, folks. When we all decided to cut the cord, did we cut it because we wanted commercials, or were we cutting it to get rid of commercials? And at what point do we say enough? Like, I'm paying you $10 a month. I don't want to see a commercial. Like, throw up an ad. The only place I see it that don't mind it is I get Peacock free as part of my Comcast package, but the free package I get shows me an ad before the start of a movie or the ad before the start of the show, but I don't actually get them during the show. So
I see. Okay.
So, if you're going to play one ad and then the show starts, that's fine. But, I'm done. Like, I cut the cord for a reason. Don't make me dust off my TiVo, because I'll do it. I'll dust off my TiVo. I miss you, TiVo.
It's a throwback right there.
I miss you, TiVo. I miss you. Come back to me. I love TiVo. I get a little TiVo ornament every year. Love it.
I had no idea.
Back to Disney. What segment haven't we talked about?
So what's the final segment we have to talk about?
Parks and experiences, Larry. Parks and experiences. Operating income declined.
Let's hear it.
Operating income declined out at Parks and Experiences 6% to $1.7 billion. Domestic parks showed significant improvement, but it was all the international parks that were running into problems and facing the most challenges, including significant attendance drop rates. But I'm curious, with Disney in places like Paris or in France, like, did the Olympics impact this? Did the Olympics create some of its downfall? Are you a Disney park goer? No?
No.
Nothing?
I am not a Disney park goer. No.
So you're buying Disney stock. What are your core things take away from Disney stock? Because when I got into it, I'm buying it for the parks before I buy it for anything else. You're buying it for?
Yeah, well, so when I initially bought it, I was buying it for the income that the parks were generating. Now it seems like the bigger driver is the entertainment side, maybe not so much the in-person parks segment. So, I mean, I haven't bought new Disney in several years. I'm just holding what I have. So yeah, I guess I initially bought it for the parks, and now the business has evolved since I bought it.
Yeah, I bought it for the parks. I keep it for the parks. I love the parks. Disney Plus and everything. It's great for the kids and everything, but if they outgrow it at some point, I could see myself canceling that subscription, but never stop going to the parks, right? Because I love the theme parks. I love the experience. I love the magic bands. I love what they do there. So every time I leave the parks, I cry at how much money I just spent, but I'm always smiling. I'm always smiling for some reason. I'm just like, I can't believe I just spent $8,000 that Disney vacation. And then I'm like, but it was so much fun. And they have pixie dust. And who doesn't, who doesn't
That's
want
how they get you.
the magic? And that's the magic. So let's look ahead. Let's close this out. Disney anticipates high single-digit adjusted earnings per share for FY25, but double-digit growth in 26 and 27. Disney plans to repurchase roughly $3 billion in stock. James Gorman of Morgan Stanley, I may quote him wrong, but from what I understand, he's set to become Disney's chairman the first of the year, succeeding Mark Parker. The company also aims to announce a new CEO. Now, okay, before we get into this, we've tried this before, Disney. We've tried this before. If you're going to announce a new CEO, Larry, feel free to jump in. Bob needs to go away. He can't keep his office. He can't keep anything else. You need to push him out the door. You need to say, Bob, thank you. Bye-bye. Bye-bye, Bob. 3 B's. Bye-bye, Bob. Say thank you. But Disney tried this before, Larry. And Bob Iger stuck around. And it's like the slightest bump in the road. And he sabotages the people that he handpicks to replace him. And he's like, I'm here to be your savior, Bob. And I feel like Groundhog Day meets What About Bob? And he's sailing again. And I just don't understand if they're going to pick a new CEO, how they can't push Bob out the door. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, he's got to go. You can't have the old CEO looming over the new CEO. The new person has to come in and be able to, make their mark, make their impact on the business, good or bad.
Good or bad, or just bad?
Good or bad. Look at Chapek. He came, or however you say his name. He came in. He started making all these changes. They were terrible.
Hold on. Let's pause.
All there. with the Bob Iger sabotage in the background.
Let's pause there for a second. Chapek only made one mistake from what I saw, and that to me was the whole fight. I'm gonna pick a fight with the Florida governor. I'm not gonna say his name. I'm not gonna give him that recognition on Unfoolish Investing. But the Florida governor and Disney got into a tiffle, even a biffle, and Chapek I felt like was downhill from there. I don't think you can you have to give a CEO a fighting chance. You can't, I'm not going to say a Karen Lynch fighting chance because that's just like disaster, right? But you have to give him 3 years at least, just like you would a head coach, to come in, put their program in place, pull a few levers, and see if things start working. Because if you go downhill in a year after taking over, to me, I put that on the previous, that's 100% on Iger. That's Iger's moves, not Chapek's moves.
Yeah, I mean, so the stuff that really bothered me was all the changes he made in how the streaming and the entertainment business was structured, so that it was much harder for, I'll call them the creative folks, like the idea folks. Made it harder for them to actually do their jobs, and the corporate execs were the one making the decisions around, the direction that some movies and TV shows on the streaming service were going. So I think that was a big misstep for him. And that's not his space. He was a parks guy. He came from the parks segment. So I think he was just really out of his element in the entertainment space, and there was enough money involved, the entertainment space, with Iger being a Hollywood whatever, that he heard enough grumblings about it, and that I think that's really what did Chapek in.
We shall see.
Right, wrong, or indifferent. I think.
Yeah,
I think that's That's what didn't mean.
The end of the day, all I can say is I'm excited for a new CEO. I think it's time. Iger's
No,
been there
yeah, I
far too.
appreciate the turnaround. I think Iger has kind of righted the ship, so to speak. But you know, right? I agree with you. I'm ready for a new generation of Disney leadership.
Agreed. Agreed. And on that, Disney's fourth quarter earnings, they're in the books. They reflect a company adeptly balancing its rich legacy with forward-thinking strategies. The profitability in streaming services and the success of recent film releases underscores a robust content pipeline. However, challenges in the Parks and Experience division highlight areas needing attention, which I do think Chapek not being there is part of the problem, because I don't think Iger gets that business, and they keep on making decisions that are just a negative impact because he's not listening to us, the consumer, on what we think would fix some of these park experience issues. However, as Disney navigates leadership transitions and continues to innovate, its trajectory remains a strong focal point for all of us Unfoolish investors and fans alike. Any final thoughts on Disney?
Yeah, I'm excited to see where the stock goes. Like I said, my personal experience, I've been holding it kind of flatly for so long. I'm happy to see some gains here, and hoping it's a new beginning, so to speak.
Agreed. We shall see. That's all for today's episode on Foolish Investing. Stay tuned on Foolish Investors for more insights into the world of business and entertainment. Don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, comment below, send us an email on foolishinvesting@gmail.com. Until next time, I'm Victor.
I'm Larry. Stay unfoolish, everyone.
Amen, Larry. Amen.